Hey y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you about our newest sponsor, GFL. That's Green for Life. If you're looking for that dumpster or that roll-off or that piece of equipment that's going to get that debris away from your job site or just keep things handy around and clean around that big business that you have, GFL wants to be your partner. They want to service you and they want to take care of you. Locations in Knoxville and Morristown, and you can call them today at 865-475-7777, 865-475-7777. Dean Kings joins me today to tell us about a special offer for Rick's House listeners. Dean.
Yeah, Rick, if they mentioned that they've heard about us on your show or any kind of thing affiliated with your show, we're going to waive our delivery fee for any roll-off box.
And how much is that?
That's a $75 savings.
$75 savings right off the bat. So if you're looking for that dumpster or that open-top roll-off, GFL is the company that's got them for you. They want to take care of you, they want to service you, and they do a great job for us. GFL, call them today, 865-475-7777, and mention that you heard them on Rick's House. Perma-Chink Systems, protecting wood for a long, long time. Not only protecting it, but beautifying it, helping it when it's decayed, working with log home people, and also working with homeowners. They have a store on Prosser Road in Knoxville at 1605 Prosser Road. It's 800-548-3554, or a store in Sevierville, 1357 Dolly Parton Parkway, 865-774-3307. 865-774-3307. Let me tell you what you're going to learn when you get there. Things I didn't know about. How about the Woodsman line of smooth log caulk? The other day I was looking for something that matched wood trim. I only had two choices. Not with Perma-Chink: pine, honey, tan, cedar tone, brown, and gray. E-wood, epoxy wood putty that really works. Putty that will harden and become just like the wood itself, maybe even better. If you're missing sections of your windowsills or frames or furniture or any wood structure, this is the product for you. But maybe it's something smaller. How about epoxy wood paste? Contact PCS today. Call Perma-Chink Systems today. Toll free 800-548-3554, or at the Sevierville store, 865-774-3307, and find out how to make wood better. Welcome into Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. Appreciate you being part of what we do each and every Saturday morning. A little different setup this morning. I like it. I like it a lot. I hope y'all are liking it this morning. Boys, it's cold where you are. Oh, my good gracious. Back home in East Tennessee, I think it's very chilly, and we'll see about that. I know they've closed schools down already, and for Monday and Tuesday, listen, when back in the 80s, when we was in high school, they ain't closed no school down for nothing. They didn't close it down for nothing. And if they did, they made you wait until it was almost 2 minutes before school time, which I understand now. I was talking to a friend of mine about that the other day, and he said, well, Rick, he said, now, people's got jobs in school, and they got things to do, and both parents have to work, and, you got all these things that, people have to make plans in order to be able to, know where the kids are and what they're doing. Shoot. Miss Pat, throw that bus in four-wheel drive with some chains on it and go. So, we got a new phone number today. If you want to call us and be on the program, we'd love to hear from you. It's 423-717-0157, 423-717-0157. Now, when that answers, you're not going to hear me right away. I'll have to bring you on as I can, or you may hear me right away because I'm running the show today. We're out doing traveling in West Texas, as you know. It is 32 here this morning, and we're going down to 18. Which is unusual in the high desert, but we don't get much of that for a long period of time, So we're going to have some of that, and that's the way it'll be, and we'll deal with it and move on. But still, even though it's that cold, we still don't have as much humidity as we do in Tennessee, and for me, that's a big deal. I don't have as much of that as normal, so that helps me bunches. Can you say bunches? Say bunches. I said bunches. So yeah, we can do that. So that makes a huge difference for me in my mobility issues and all the things that I have. When I think about home improvement and what I have to do there and what I love to do and how I love to do it, it makes me think about the way that I have to do things now. And as I'm aging and I get older, I can still do a few things, but I have to do them completely different. And that's a big adjustment. It's kind of like when your kids leave the house and you're used to, if you've got boys or girls or whoever, or boys and girls, you're used to cooking for an army. Learning to cook for two people and a dog and a dog and two cats, is not for the faint of heart. Now, coming up on the program today, I'm going to share something with you a little bit later in the program that happened to me this week. And all I got to say about that is welcome to my late 50s. It's a new snack. You might want to try it. I didn't know I tried it till my wife told me the next morning. So we're going to talk about that coming up on the program today. We're going to share that with you and have a little fun along the way. You can reach out to us on the telephone if you'd like to, 423-717-0157. 423-717-0157. Now, Devin called me and, Evan. Evan called me. I don't know why I said Devin. From Perma-Chink, and we're moving him because with all the weather in East Tennessee and with the snow and stuff, he also has a degree in agriculture. And so his wife does a lot of stuff with horses and these show horses and things. I don't know what all, but with the weather, he's having to move critters and do all that kind of stuff. So it just wasn't going to be possible for him to make it in this early. And I'd already scheduled the event, so I didn't want to change it up on y'all, and y'all go, well, Rick said he's going to be on here now. He said he ain't going to be on there, and then his mama said he wasn't going to be on there. Well, that's the reason. The reason is that I just didn't have a chance to change it. And to be honest with you, as I'm learning how to set these things up and utilize our social media, in addition to what we're doing, as I'm doing those things, once I get something set up, I'm afraid to move it because I don't know if I'm going to do it right or not. Ain't that awful? But that's part of the deal when you're trying to set these things up and run with them. So that being said, we're just glad to have you with us this morning. And Evan will be back with us. And of course, Perma-Chink in Gatlinburg and Tennessee, and in Knoxville and across the country. They're a nationwide company, folks. So they are everywhere, and they would love for you to do business with them wherever you are. And so we'd like you to know about that if you're in Ohio or up north somewhere further than that, or out west or wherever you are, and you've got issues about your wood and products and things that you need, they got it, and they can help you with it. So we'll get him back in there on the program, and it'll work out just fine, and we'll make that happen. Right now is a time with this kind of impending weather that you got to be really careful. We've talked about last week about having your hoses undone, and and making sure that they're disconnected, because, we've had some warm weather. We've brought those hoses out. We've used them, but don't leave them hooked up. You got to disconnect that from that faucet. And I know you say, Rick, you told us last week that faucet is frost proof. Well, frost proof and freeze proof, two different things. And I ain't never seen a faucet that wouldn't freeze at some point, especially when you get down into that kind of weather. And I just noticed here on the book face that Brother Dr. Craig Henney from Hamburg Chiropractic has a birthday today. He's 107. But no, I don't know how old Doc is, but he is one of the reasons that I stand in the upright position. He can't do anything about my knuckles dragging, he tells me, but he does know how to help you be healthy. So happy birthday to Dr. Craig Henney at Hamburg Chiropractic. And if you're in the Knoxville area, it's a place to be. So anyway, after that, I know that there is probably not a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk anywhere in East Tennessee right now. Probably couldn't find it with a search warrant if you wanted to. So that is that is one of the things that tickles me, but it's also one of the things, as I was watching the news early this morning, that's important, because folks, there are people out there, and thank God for food banks and all those kinds of things, that struggle this time of year. Brian, good morning. Good to see you, my brother. Glad to have you on the program. And we'll get you to call in here in a little while, because you've been wanting to call me for the last little bit, and we'll check that phone system out and see if we've got that running. I'll put the number up online here in a little bit for those of you that want to join us, and we'll do that as well. But yeah, if you have extra, share extra. I was in a parking lot in the Dollar General, at the Dollar General store market this past week, and there was a lady in front of we actually came up to the line at the same place, and she had 3 bottles of water, and that's all she had. And I had a few things, and I said, just go ahead, ma'am. And so it was real busy, and of course they only had one cashier, because you can't find anybody to work or do anything. So that being said, she said, okay, thank you. And so while we were standing there, we were just having a general conversation. She was talkative, and I got to talking to her, and she was a veteran, and had served in the Navy. And so I hadn't even got a chance to tell my wife this story yet. And so we were talking back and forth, and I thanked her for her service, because I went around another aisle and run into a guy that had a hat on, and he was a veteran, and he was Air Force, and I thanked him for his service, because I thank people for their service. I didn't have the opportunity to do that, and I appreciate those that do and did. And I know y'all do too. And so, I had thanked him for his service. Well, anyway, while I was talking to her, she got her stuff and she went outside, and I said, well, so I got my stuff, and as I was coming outside, I noticed she was laying on the parking lot on her back. And this lady's like in her late 70s, early 80s. I'm like, oh gosh, are you okay, ma'am? She said, yeah. She said, I dropped the bag busted, one of them good Dollar General store bags. And she said, my water's running underneath my car. And I said, well, you think, she said, I got 2 of them, but she said, there's one underneath that wheel and I can't get it. Well, I'm disabled too. I can't get down there and squat like a monkey and get it up. She said, I believe if I can back my car up, I can back straight up and not busted. And I said, well, I'll help you. So I set my stuff down, because I was parked next to her. We both had our handicap stickers up there in the handicap thing. I said, can you get up? She said, yeah, I believe I can. She said, let me do some yoga. And honey, she rolled over. I said, "Do you need me to help you?" She said, "No." She said, "I believe I got it. But if not," I said, "I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold your buggy right here so you've got something to hold on to." She took that cane and hooked it over that. I was with her. I was with her all the way. I was in full tilt. Hooked that cane up on the top of that buggy, and I was holding her tight. She threw them hips to the left, got over, and walked bear crawled up with them legs straight like a monkey. I said, "Well, doggone." She said, "That's what that." She said, "That right there's what yoga do for you." I said, "I'm in." She said, "Hey," she said, "they got it over to VA." I said, "Well, I'm not a veteran." I said, "But they're going to have it over. I got silver sneakers." She's doing great this morning, Brian. And I got silver sneakers. I'm gonna do it over there. They got that chair yoga and that chair tai chi. But anyway, she said, and I said, "Okay." So she got in her car and she backed her up. And sure enough, I got her bottle and took it around over and gave it to her. She said, "God bless you, honey." I said, "You all right?" She said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "Okay, I'll see you next time." She said, "Okie dokie." And that goes to show you that she was obviously widowed by herself, but she wasn't letting the world slow her down. She is going to have her sparkling water. Is that, it's the ones you get at Walmart that's flavored, and they come, they're like 89 cents for like a liter bottle of that stuff. So yeah, God love her. She had it going on this morning or that morning. So a little yoga. There's a lot of that chair yoga. That's what I'm interested in. I'm going to find out about that. So I don't know how I got over on the dollar store, but anyway, making sure you have what you need, because not everybody her age is able to get around and do and those kinds of things, and they have trouble. So happy birthday to Dr. Craig Kenney for that. And also, I just wanted to share my little experience with you. Now, coming up later in the program, like I told you, I'm going to share with you a new midnight snack I discovered. I won't be eating it again, but I will say I did like it, as Mrs. A, as Brian Causer says. I did like it. I cannot tell a lie. I didn't know the difference. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that one, because it was quite the experience. So wherever you are, I don't know how cold it is in your part of the world, but make sure that you've got those faucets, hose bibs undone from that, and those faucets are covered. I don't care if it's a sock wrapped around it or whatever you got to do. If you can get one of those $2.50, foam covers that go over, that works real well. But it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you've got it covered, because it's the breeze, it's the wind. I've told you so many times, and we talk so much on the program about it's not the cold as much as it is the draft. Draft is what makes us feel cold. It's what makes us not be able to feel warm in our home. That's what happens. This morning I got up during the night, and of course we use infrared heat because we just don't use our gas heat much. When you're in a travel trailer in an RV and it's moving and it's constantly moving, I'm always worried about, you hear a lot of things about them blowing up and catching on fire and all those kinds of things. Now, when I say that, and I know I've said this a lot, I don't mean for that to scare you in your home. Okay. Your home's not moving. You know what I mean? It's not bouncing up and down some dirt gravel road in West Texas, or Albuquerque, or, wherever we may be. And by the way, we found out yesterday that, what's that guy's name? Michael Strahan. Played football I think it was for the Giants. Real good defensive player, was in the Big Bend National Park, which is one of the cities that we visit. That's not very far from where we are this morning. It's all good. Yeah, he does Good Morning America, and he was there. I'm not seeing all of our comments for some reason. I don't know why, but we'll check that during the timeout. But anyway, so he was down here. So when I say things, sometimes things are specific to travel trailers and RVs and anything that moves. That's for anything that moves. When we're talking about that part of things, we're not talking about not using gas heat in your house. I love gas heat in the house. You don't have those issues. But we have a different setup when a vehicle's moving down the road and it twists and bends and you back it up and you do all those kinds of things. Now, this is also a really bad time for batteries in your car. Don't leave your cell phones plugged in. If you have anything that does a phantom, what we call a phantom draw, some people call it vampire draw, but I call it a phantom draw. Car chargers, my brake, my trailer brake thing I've just discovered, I didn't realize it had one, has an on and off switch on it. And mine's been on, and I haven't been driving my truck much because we've been driving Amy's car. And so as a result of that, it ran my battery down. Well, it ran it down. I jumped it off. It ran for a while. Everything was fine. Well, now this is a brand new battery. It's less than 4 months old. And I can't believe what batteries cost. Batteries are not cheap. They are not cheap. I promise you. I mean, that battery's like $200 something because my truck's a big truck. But anyway, and I've tried to charge it, and it won't retake a charge. So anything that you've got in your car that is going to draw, when those batteries are subject to these extremely cold temperatures, and like I said, we're going to get down to 18 here. And I know that in parts of northern Texas, they're going to be in single digits, and with wind chill factors in negative single digits. Now, if I get into that kind of cold, I can't function. I just have to hole up in the house and sit in a chair because I can't. My body won't function like that anymore. Like when I was young and could do that. So you got to take care of those batteries at that time. One of the things I did yesterday, well, let's take a short time out because we got so much to talk about today. And then I'm going to tell you something that it was good for you. Don't forget, a little bit later in the show, I'm going to share that new recipe for that midnight snack on the program. Brian says 21 degrees out in Lacey, Washington. Yeah, buddy. Y'all gonna get any snow out there? We've got in the high desert, we have a 62% chance of snow today. I just seen popped up on the screen. So, yeah, we'll see what's going on there as well. But I'm gonna give you a little tip when we come back about something that we learned and and what I did about it. And also, we're going to talk about home improvement stuff. And we've got a new phone number. 423-717-0157. I'll put it out there here in just a minute during the timeout. It's 423-717-0157 is the call-in line for Rick's House. 423-717-0157. I'll put it on the book face, as we call it, when we come back. So let's take that next time out so that we can hear from some of those folks that bring you the Rick's House program. And I'll be right back. You're listening to Rick's House. We're glad y'all with us. Perma-Chink Systems, protecting wood for a long, long time. Not only protecting it, but beautifying it, helping it when it's decayed, working with log home people, and also working with homeowners. They have a store on Prosser Road in Knoxville at 1605 Prosser Road at 800-548-3554, or a store in Sevierville, 1357 Dolly Parton Parkway, 865-774-3307. 865-774-3307. Let me tell you what you're going to learn when you get there. Things I didn't know about. How about the Woodsman line of smooth log caulk? The other day I was looking for something that matched wood trim. I only had two choices. Not with Perma-Chink. Pine, honey, tan, cedar tone, brown, and gray. E-wood, epoxy wood putty. Putty that really works. Putty that will harden and become just like the wood itself, maybe even better. If you're missing sections of your windowsills or frames or furniture or any wood structure, this is the product for you. But maybe it's something smaller. How about epoxy wood paste? Contact PCS today. Call Perma-Chink Systems today. Toll free 800-548-3554 or at the Sevierville store, 865-774-3307, and find out how to make wood better. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you about our newest sponsor, GFL. That's Green for Life. If you're looking for that dumpster or that roll-off or that piece of equipment that's going to get that debris away from your job site, or just keep things handy around and clean around that big business that you have, GFL wants to be your partner. They want to service you, and they want to take care of you. Locations in Knoxville and Morristown, and you can call them today at 865-475-7777, 865-475-7777. Dean Kings joins me today to tell us about a special offer for Rick's House listeners. Dean.
Yeah, Rick, if they mentioned that they've heard about us on your show or any kind of thing affiliated with your show, we're going to waive our delivery fee for any roll-off box.
And how much is that?
That's a $75 savings.
$75 savings right off the bat. So if you're looking for that dumpster or that open-top roll-off, GFL is the company that's got them for you. They want to take care of you, they want to service you, and they do a great job for us. GFL, call them today, 865-475-7777, and mention that you heard them on Rick's House.
Don't let do-it-yourself become do-it-to-yourself. This is Rick's House, the home improvement show.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690. Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. Little new music for y'all. Music brought to you by Epidemic Sound today, and we appreciate that. We've got copy-free music, so we don't have to hear that from the Bookface and the Tube U and all that stuff that we do. We think you've done. No, we didn't do nothing. We paid for it. We got a certificate says we did, and there it is. So. Before the timeout, and Brian put a great question in, and Doc joins us this morning. Happy birthday, Doc. Appreciate you, brother. How's it feel to be 107 and look 35? Brian says, what's the best brand of tire for your trailer home? And we'll talk about that in just a second. But before the timeout, I told you that I wanted to talk about something. Wilson Generator Service, if you're in the Knoxville, Kodak, Sevierville, that area of the world. My brother up there knows his business. And one of the things he told me was, he said, Rick, he said, you have got to make sure that you utilize your generator at least once a week. And I knew I needed to run it sometimes, but I didn't think about once a week. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really didn't. I didn't think about that. He said, you got to run it once a week. He said, and that will be the life of it. Well, if you think about anything, you think, well, yeah, that's true. And also, depending on the time of year, the fuel that you have in there, if it doesn't have a stabilizer in it, that fuel, and it's not completely full, it will get condensation in there because that's a metal tank, and it gets cold and condense, and then warms up and condensates and back and forth, just like if you walk outside in a glass of sweet tea. I remember when I was a kid and we had these metal, and they were actually beer mugs is what they were, but they had a glass bottom and a top. I can't remember what beer it was, but when we put that iced tea in there, when you did that, it would and you walk outside, you got a cold mug, you walk outside in the hot, 80, 90 degrees, and it sweats. And so the same thing happens inside your gasoline tank, which puts water in there. When water gets in your carburetor, that causes it to sputter just like it does a lawnmower or anything else. So one of the things I did yesterday, I had called down to the office and had him send one of the guys up to see if because we had tried jumping the car off and it just, my truck off, and it just wasn't going to do it. And then I had used my booster and it wasn't going to do it. And I thought, well, and I called one of the guys and said, "You got a big booster?" He said, "Yeah." So he brought his up, and I just wanted to see. So I took the terminals off, cleaned all the battery connections, made sure everything was clean, a little baking soda and water, cleaned the acid off of it. Then I keep a battery tool, that's a wire brush for the terminal tops, and just got the brush on it for in between. I took all that apart, cleaned everything, put it all back, nothing. So that tells me that the battery's just not going to charge. It's just not going to charge. Now, I checked the water to see if it had water in it, checked everything about it. And I may just got a battery that just had a short life. It's part of it. You just don't know. So while the guys were up here, there's a rule in most parks that you can't run a generator unless, it just depends. Some of them will let you run a generator, but if you're hooked up to power, you can't run your generator unless the power's out. Well, I didn't want to be, down here in Texas, they're talking about the draw and the demand. And I saw somebody on Facebook, and I don't know if you guys have this out west, Brian, or wherever, but they were talking about rolling power outages, where, I remember, I don't know, it was the year before last, maybe when we were at home, that, they would turn the power off for 30 minutes at a time, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I'm entitled to it. Now, so I wanted to be prepared. So I asked to be a good neighbor in the park. Everybody on each side of us was at work, so there was nobody around us. I have 2 generators on this trailer. I'll never not have 2 generators ever, because I had 2 generators for the longest time, and I used the one, and then somebody where I was out west wanted my other one, and I thought, well, I'll never use it. I'll just go ahead and sell it to them. They needed it, so I sold it to them. Next week, my generator went out, and that was horrible until I could get it fixed and replaced. So I told the camp host, I said, "Hey, I need to run my generators for about 10 minutes and make sure they're good to go in case we have a power issue." And he said, "Well, everybody's gone right now." He said, "Yeah, he said, right now it's time to do it." I said, "Okay, thank you." So one of my generators has a electric start on it. Well, when I picked it up, I figured the battery was dead because he hand cranked it to show me it was running. So I'd been hand cranking it all this time. Well, while it's been running, it recharged the battery. And so yesterday, I just, by accident, I thought, what if that battery's any good? I reached down and hit that electric start, boy, she fired right up. So I fueled both of those, and I let them both run for about 10 minutes and get good and warmed up, checked the oil, got everything done, topped them off with gas, made sure, we wasn't going to have no sputtering and all that kind of business, and got it all done. One of the things that I've done is Northern sells a electric pump. And I bought all kinds of pumps, those little ones at Harbor Freight that you use and different ones. But I finally went ahead and bought an electric pump, a transfer pump from Northern Tool. And it was about $70-$80, 60, 70, $80. And it runs on 4 AA batteries. That is the absolute best thing that I have ever done. That pump is fabulous. And not only that, the way it's designed, it's got a little cap on the end so you don't spill gas all over everything. Well, I had a bunch of gas left over that when I'm traveling, I've got 5, 6, 5.5 gallon tanks of fuel at all times. Because when you're traveling, especially through a state like Texas or Albuquerque or New Mexico, or somewhere like that, or Florida, you can beat long distances without fuel. And when you're getting 8, 9, 10 miles a gallon at best, you better have some fuel. And I tell you something else, if I break down and have to wait on Good Sam's to come, I'm going to sit in my trailer with the air on. So I carry that with me all the time. Well, we got here, and we're traveling around to all these little different cities, Marfa and Marathon and Terlingua and just Terlingua, excuse me, all these other places that we're visiting all over West Texas. But we're not going very far. And Amy's car gets really good gas mileage. My truck's just sitting there. So I thought, well, I need to do something with that gas because I don't want it to just sit there and go bad in the not necessarily go bad, but get condensation in the tanks and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, well, I'll just take my pump and put it in the car. So I got a little table that I got at Walmart. It's one of them little folding metal tables. Best thing I ever did is exactly the right height. You just put it right up there, set it right next to the gas tank, put the tank on there, drop the pump down in there. And when I stuck the pump into the gas thing, it's got 2 clips on both sides, and it just clips itself in there. You don't even got to touch it. Just hit the button. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Northern Tool. That's the ticket. I'll have one from now on. So I transferred all that gas over, and then I put the rest of it in generators, and then we'll fill it back up so that we have fresh gas in there, and we'll make sure and keep the stabilizer in there for them as well. So we did that yesterday, and everything worked great. So I know that if we lose power right now, Lord willing, we don't. I know that I can walk outside. Well, used to be able to walk outside. It's a little more difficult now, but in other words, and hit that button and transfer my power from the pole over to that generator and be back on and running with heat and TV and all the things that we need in 5 minutes. And that's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to know when you're traveling and you're stranded that, you don't have to be. You've got what you need. Now, Brian, back to your question, and I'll answer both of them. The thing about tires is, and we're talking about trailer tires. When we went on the road the first time, I had the trailer tires that came on the trailer, and it was a trailer tire, but it was a I think they were 7-ply. And they did, yes. Mrs. A says they were hydrogen filled, which is correct. They were. And you say, well, what does that mean? If you have a valve stem on your tire and it's green, it has a green lid on it, that means there's hydrogen in your tires, which is thicker than air, and it's supposed to wear better and give you better gas mileage and all that stuff. And that's great. Finding a place to put that back in there is difficult sometimes. Can you put air back in those tires if they've leaked down? Yes, you can. So that's not an issue for us now. But I found myself, as you know, we're 65 feet long with the truck we had. Now we're actually a little longer than that. We wasn't quite that long. We were like 62 feet, and now we're like 65 feet because I have a long bed truck. But that being said, I would find myself on occasion, you get into a situation where you got a tight turn, and even if you can't swing out like you need to, and somebody's crowding you on the other side, I'm just like driving a tractor trailer, but I'm a tag along. So I got a bumper pull, so I don't have a fifth wheel like a tractor trailer is, where I can make that tight turn. So every once in a while, you hit a curb, and when you do that, here's what's important about tires. I don't remember what brand tires I have on my trailer. And Brian, I love you, brother, but I ain't going out there to look right now. It's too cold. But what I can tell you is I use Best One tire. And they have several locations. I don't know how far west they are, but they're a nationwide company. And so my buddy Paul McMahon at Best One, for those of y'all in Knoxville. Matter of fact, Evan from Perma-Chink just went down there, and Brian's asked me about a tire shop. I do not. I have used when we're on the road. Now, when we're close to home, I use Best One. I sent Evan from Perma-Chink down there, and he got a great deal. Paul and them down there, you can't beat them, and they also do mechanic work. Matter of fact, when my battery went down, I called Paul and talked to his chief mechanic, Scott, and he told me what he thinks is wrong with my battery. And he's right. And that's just from, 30 years of doing it. But anyway, that being said, okay. Y'all see me turn around just then? I didn't realize. I looked at the television in the background and it had the Rick's House logo on the TV. And I'm like, what? Are they talking about Rick's House on the TV? Well, it's not on the TV. It's on my screen, which is showing the TV in the background. So it looks like Rick's House is on the logo is on the television. I thought, well, how'd that get on there? That's good. Yeehaw. But anyway, so I probably went through, in the 3 years we were on the road before, I probably went through, we probably bought 6, 7 tires probably. Because you curb them, they get a knot on them, they get it, it's always in the sidewall. And if I pick up a nail or something, I'm gonna have that tire taken off. I'm gonna have it ground inside. I'm gonna have it patched from the inside. Now Walmart does a pull patch thing where they push it through there and bring it back out, but it has a little patch on the inside. Nope, I'm not doing that. Not going to happen. So they're going to take it off and they're going to manually put me a patch inside. That's going to stick. I'm going to do that. So I asked my buddy Paul, I said, listen, we're getting ready to drive a couple of 3,000 miles at least. And it's 1,700 to where we're at right now, 1,796 to be exact. I want tires that are going to get me good gas mileage and that are not going to be in a strain, and I don't want a blowout. Because if you ever seen a blowout on a travel trailer, it is ugly. And it will cause that thing to start fishtailing, and next thing you know, it's over on its side, and people are hurt, and I don't want any part of that. I just don't want any part of that. So I told him, I said, what does it call for? He said, well, it calls for 7 ply. I said, what are the choices? And he priced them to me. Well, what I went with is 14 ply. I went with double the ply. Now, what does that mean? We're talking about the thickness of the tire tread and the sidewall. The thicker the tire tread is, the thicker the sidewall is, which makes sense. The tires on my travel trailer look like tractor trailer tires. They look exactly like tractor trailer tires. They're not that big. They're 15-inch, but they look exactly like a tractor trailer tire. So if I have to run over a curb, I can. I don't want to. But if I have to, I'm not worried about it. If it bumps something, I'm not worried about it busting the tire, creating a knob on it, those kinds of things. Knock on wood, we haven't had any problems out of the tires. And we pulled into and Brian said, what about finding a tire shop? Well, when we were on the road, I keep a compressor on the trailer all the time. It's a small compressor. And I realized that, after my tires were on my trailer, I noticed that after they'd worn a while, that I needed to put air in them. Well, I looked at my compressor and the capacity, and then I looked at the tire, and I said, there's no way that little compressor is going to put the air. It doesn't have enough air in it to force it in there. I mean, would it put enough air in to get you down the road? Probably, but it doesn't have the power to do that. So we were going down the road and we looked. Truck stops are your friend if you're on the road. So I went to one truck stop and I said, hey, I need this done. And, they're like, well, we don't do that, but we think that what's that truck stop name, Amy? T. Yeah, we went to Love's and they said we don't work on anything that's not commercial. And they said, but the TA across the street does. Well, we went over there and it was actually, I'd had a radiator hose come loose and I'd tighten it best I could. It was a transmission cooler hose, is what it was, and I lost all my fluid. And thank goodness we had a car with us, so she was able to go ahead and get what I needed and come back, and then I was able to make it 8 miles up the road. But I needed somebody who had a set of wrenches that I did not have to tighten it back down properly. And so we went in, and this old boy comes out. We're in Louisiana, and this old boy comes out, and he goes, what's going on out there? And I said, well, I told him, and Amy told him inside, and she had me on speakerphone because it's hard for me to walk distances. And so I told him, he comes out with the right size wrench in his hand. Knew exactly what he needed. I said, let's just go ahead and do that. He said, let's check them others while we're at it. Checked them all. Tightened everything up. He goes, hey, your radiator's loose. Let's tighten that up. I said, what I owe you? Oh, no, you don't owe me nothing. And Amy was already ready. She done had some money in her hand. She said, here. He said, no. She said, I said, take it. And I said, I suggest you take it. He said, yes, ma'am. And so we did. And then as we were leaving out, and I know this is kind of two different transactions, but they had a tire shop. So we pulled around the back, and I seen some guys sitting out there, some gentlemen out there, and I said, hey, guys. And they said, yeah. I said, my tires are low. I said, and my compressor's not big enough to deal with that. And I said, could y'all put some air in my tires? They said, yeah, back her up here. So we backed up there. He said, hold. I said, how many pounds are those supposed to hold? He says, well, it says 105. Well, my compressor's only 100-pound compressor. I said, well, what do y'all usually put in them? He said, we run about 90 in them. He said, that way you got a little room for expansion when they're heating up. I said, would you check them all? He said, yeah. I said, well, what does it cost me? He said, whatever you want to pay me. So he checked all our tires, pumped them all up perfect, had big old humongous monster compressor in there. It took about 10 minutes to do it all. And I said, well, will you check them on the cart? Yeah, back her up here. And we paid the man, and he was tickled to death. He made plenty of money in about 15 minutes. So there are folks out there that'll help you with that. So my suggestion on tires, Brian, is when I'm on the road, I look for a name brand shop. Firestone. There's a lot of Firestone shops out there. And it's going to cost you a little bit more, but in the end, you're getting something that is going to stay with you. Yeah, and he did. Amy said, and she's right. The mechanic recommended the shop for us to go to. Yeah. Yeah, she went to the truck stop and he said, well, you go down there past the bayou, and there's a Napa down there, so you just go on that Napa, they'll fix you right on up. So they did, and we did, and off we go. The old Dodge is an old one, but we went all the way through it. It's a 97, but it had 143,000 original miles on it, and we've done everything to it. Struts, tires, shocks, transmission's been out of it, you name it. It's out, hoses changed, new. Yeah, I know, it's so funny. Every time we stop, Amy's telling the truth. Every time we stop somewhere to a truck stop or a mechanic, or if we stopped as a young boy in Louisiana, we stopped at a Advance. So it was an Advance because I needed some fluid, some transmission fluid, because when it blew that hose on the transmission, and I'm not mechanical. So mechanic ain't I ain't no mechanic. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not a mechanic. But when I blew the hose, and by the time I got it stopped, they just had like 8 quarts of what I needed, because you have to have an ATF4. You have to have a special transmission fluid for a Dodge, or you can't run it in there. And so as I was running it, it actually holds about 13 quarts. But I didn't know how much I'd lost. So I had to, over the next little bit, I had to check it every few miles and see that, well, it's all running in there now. I need to put another quart in. Hey, I need another half, till I finally got it full. Because it'd show full, and then after you run it a while and it went through the system, then it wasn't full again. So I had to get that all built back up. But everywhere I went, everywhere we went, whether the mechanics, I was a young boy in Louisiana, he come out there and go, man, that's old school Dodge. What year is that? I said, 97. He said, mine's a 97. He said, but yours is 4-wheel drive. I said, yes, 4-wheel drive. I said, how many miles you got on it? He said, 378,000. He said, how many you got? I said, 143. He said, what? I said, come in here and look. He said, oh man, he said, I'd give anything if I had one like that. And it's just no farm truck, but it's like old school. I said, Amy goes, well, why is that? The code had come on. It was showing a check engine light. That's the other reason we'd stop. I said, well, you check that check engine light for me. And it was oxygen sensor. Well, you know what that means, nothing. So, I'll tell you about it. It's the oxygen sensors. It's just something that kicks. And so Amy goes, well, why? She said what she just said. Well, why does it do that? He said, because it's a Dodge. I said, you got that right, brother. The door will fall off and the left blinker won't work, but it'll run without transmission fluid for 500 miles, you know. And he said, that's right. He said, mine's the same way. He said, it's tough. But once I got it hooked back up and the transmission cooler back on, it was good to go, no problems. We had new spring. We had all the springs re-arched on the back and added two to beef it up. I mean, it's got a hitch in the bed of the truck. That's one of those. It was for pulling cattle trailers. It's not a trailer. It'll come to me in a second. It's got a ball hitch in it in the center, but it's a hidden one, so it flips down, so you still have a flat bed in there. And then I've got an adapter that you can put on there that will let it pull a fifth wheel. That's the word I'm looking for. So I've got an adapter that you put on there that I can move a fifth wheel if I needed to, or pull a fifth wheel. But needless to say, that hitch that's in the truck is about $1,800, and the adapter is about $900. So those two items is about what I paid for the truck. So it just goes to show you. Brian says if the check engine light flashing in your dash, you're okay. The steady check engine light will also end up landing you in limp mode. Yes, limp mode is a very real thing. So they reset it, and one of the things I did is I went to Harbor Freight and I bought me a code connector, because we also have an Outback, and that Outback is a phenomenal vehicle, absolutely unbelievable. My buddy Will, I purchased that from him, and it is a fantastic car. I mean, it's a car, and he told me, he said, look, have you had any lights come on? I said, no. He said, if the cruise light comes on, he said, it's just let me know. Well, it did. And all these lights are flashing on the dash. This light, this. So I put it on there, and it goes back to the catalytic converter. So we're going to have to replace the catalytic converter on ours, because it's getting some miles on it, and it gets carbon built up in it, and then it doesn't breathe exactly right. And that sensor in a Subaru, it throws all these other sensors. Doesn't affect the performance of it. Hasn't affected any. Eventually it will. So we're going to have it replaced. Now, if you're in a state where you have to have emissions checks done, and we'd already had it replaced, because you don't get a clean emissions check unless you do that. So be prepared. Now, in addition to the things that we carry, I have an impact wrench, an impact drill, electric, that I can hook into my generator. I have deep well impact sockets, metric and American standards. I have tire patches. I have transmission fluid enough to fill it. I have coolant 50/50 already ready to go, radiator fluid. I have boxes, of assorted fuses, big ones, little ones. I have a replacement for each fuse in there, except for the big 40s and 50s, because they're really expensive and they last a long time. I have duct tape, and I talked last week about duct tape. If you look at, here on my desk, just for instance, tape is my friend, and those y'all watching this on TV, you can see this, and we're going to talk about why we're doing it this way. So I keep masking tape all the time, because this is when I have in the boxes that I have. Amy said, would you label those boxes, please? Because you have to go through them about 16,000 times before you figure and you know what's in each box. I said, you know what? You're right. So just a little masking tape and a Sharpie, I can zip that off, pop that on the box, write on it what it is. Even if I'm using the Ziploc bags, I can do that. So I got masking tape. Okay. Then I keep just standard brand Duck brand, D-U-C-K. You can see that inside, Duck, D-U-C-K tape. And this is standard duct tape, which you're going to know it's standard duct tape because you can see how thin it is. Okay. This is good duct tape, but it's for just minor repair. Okay. That's what that's for. So I can look at that and know what that is. But then for our slides and underneath, and let's say we have to make a repair on the underneath or or something that needs to be sealed, then we step up to Gorilla Tape. Now in the Gorilla Tape, you can see the grill in there. Okay. This is also duct tape. But this duct tape, you're not tearing you're not going to reach up there and bite it with your teeth. And you about have to have, if y'all can see this, you about got to have a pair of pliers to grab it to get it started. There we go. And you can see the difference in thickness. You turn it like that. Okay. Now, I have several different kinds of this. So what I do is, I hope y'all can see that. See right here? That's XX thick, XX tough. That's what's on the outside of it. But when you tear the cellophane off of it, it don't tell you that no more. It don't tell you it's double thick and double this and double that and quadruple this and quadruple that. So I know what that's for. But if I'm going to, bear with me. This is an unplanned event. But I also know, and this is what this looks like. This is what it looks. This is what the next tape that I carry is, Gorilla Tape. And if you see right here, this is permanent Gorilla Tape, all weather. Permanent Gorilla Tape, all weather. Okay. So I know that that's permanent Gorilla Tape, all weather. While it's here, it's extra strong, extra long lasting, and extra durable. Okay. So inside of this, where the blue is, because I'm not going to remember the difference between blue and orange inside. I'm not going to remember that. So what I will do is, when I open this tape up to use it and take this cellophane off, I will take a Sharpie and I will write in there, permanent, outdoor, permanent, and then I'll know. And then, this is handy. Now it's orange inside too, and even though it's wide, this is waterproof patch and seal tape. This stuff right here, when you put it on, it ain't coming off. Not unless it pulls paint and all. It is not coming off. Now, the other thing is, so when I use a piece of this, and this cellophane comes off, I'll put waterproof patch and seal, and I'll write that right inside here so I know what it is. Brian says, how's Chevy? He's good. He's over there sleeping in his bed. He don't hear nothing. He's deaf. But this is for gutters and roofing, and it'll patch a pool liner, and it's a 10-foot roll, and it is great stuff. I use it on the outside of the slides to cover where they seal, and I've had to reseal, and then I put this on top of it because if you're running your slides in and out and all that. And I told you guys I repaired the slides or had them repaired on the travel trailer, and they are working fantastic. Oh, the boho. And so anyway, so we've got that going on. Here comes a very lovely and talented Mrs. Allen. I believe she's going to bring. Oh, and this is for you, Brian. Oh, Say hi, Shivers. Can you tell them hi? You gonna grunt for them? Yeah, you gonna tell them hi? You gonna say hi? Say good morning. I've had my morning breakfast. I've had my morning breakfast, and now I'm sleepy because I old. I 13, and I old, but I handsome boy. Say I look like a puppy, but when I smile at you, I'm missing teeth. That Papa's boy. That Papa's boy. Yeah. Say bye-bye. Say, please put me back in my bed, you old Jersey. God, Chevy, you're getting fat as a butterball. We let his hair grow out for winter. So there's old Shivers. So just a little tip for you about tape and things that you can do. I used to keep air impact wrenches too, Brian. And I just over the years just I'm limited on space on how much I can keep and what I can do. So that's something that I do to make sure that it's just easier for me to keep that electric going because I can run a cord. He said, "Thank you, Miss A," and she said, "You're welcome." So that's just something that's just easier for me. I can having the generator right there, I can power up any tool that I need to do whatever I need to do. If it's something that I can do, if not, we keep Good Sam's, and Good Sam's does a fantastic job. We've had really good success out of that. So that's part of it. Now we're going to take a time out. I'm going to put the phone number up there. If you want to give us a call, we'll try it because we haven't done this yet, but we're going to put it up there. Brian, I know you've been wanting to call, so we'll see if we can put you on. And I may answer it and not immediately talk to you if you call me. So you'll because I don't want it to go on the air. This is a learning experience. I'm digging it. And for those of y'all that know, my contract was due at the radio station, and they have been outstanding to me. But we are traveling so much, and I've got so much going on that I elected to take a couple months and to podcast. And then we'll revisit, and we'll do what we need to do with them and get that all where it needs to be. Because like I said, they're outstanding and they're busy, and Skip's absolutely covered up with ball and all that kind of stuff. And we're traveling. And so the way I've got it setting up, it's just real easy to do it this way. And honestly, I wanted to try it this way, for a little bit. So God bless them. Appreciate them. But you will be seeing us here. And in addition to that, we should also add Spotify next week. And the only other thing I'm looking at adding is adding Talk Shoe back. That's one of the things that we may do, Brian. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But I already have a Spotify account, and we're going to add that in addition. We'll probably delete one of our YouTube accounts and replace it with I've already got a place for Spotify. But I just didn't want to complicate anything this week until I've got it. But we've got our setup and we love it, and we've got everything the way that we need to. And it works good for us right now because not only that, it allows me to maybe do some additional things during the week. And that setup's a little bit different. So here's the number. And like I said, I'll just answer it if you call, and just hang on until I can get back to you. And that way we'll have that out there. So that's the Rick's House number, 423-717-0157. We're going to take a short time out to hear from some of those folks that bring you the Rick's House program. And then when we come back, we will maybe talk to Brian. We'll see. Maybe not. We'll go back into the conversation. But we do need to hear from some of those folks that bring you the Rick's House program. Hang on, youngins. It's a dandy cold morning on the 24th of 2026. We will be right back.
Whether you're living in a brand new home or swimming in a money pit, we've got your home improvement answers. It's Rick's House, the home improvement show.
Located in the heart of East Tennessee, where they do full service plumbing and repairs. All Clear Plumbing. Wheeler and Daniel, they know how to get the things right in your house. From a broken water pipe to an emergency repair to a water line installed, or maybe something that you never thought a plumber could do. Who do you call? You call All Clear Plumbing. Talk to Wheels, All Clear Plumbing. Your choice for plumbing. 865-443-7752. Perma-Chink Systems, protecting wood for a long, long time. Not only protecting it, but beautifying it, helping it when it's decayed, working with log home people, and also working with homeowners. They have a store on Prosser Road in Knoxville at 1605 Prosser Road at 800-548-3554, or a store in Sevierville, 1357 Dolly Parton Parkway, 865-774-3307. 865-774-3307. Let me tell you what you're going to learn when you get there. Things I didn't know about. How about the Woodsman line of smooth log caulk? The other day I was looking for something that matched wood trim. I only had two choices. Not with Perma-Chink. Pine, honey, tan, cedar tone, brown, and gray. E-wood, epoxy wood putty. Putty that really works. Putty that will harden and become just like the wood itself, maybe even better. If you're missing sections of your window sills or frames or furniture or any wood structure, this is the product for you. But maybe it's something smaller. How about epoxy wood paste? Contact PCS today. Call Perma-Chink Systems today. Toll free 800-548-3554 or at the Sevierville store 865-774-3307 and find out how to make wood better. Hey y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you about our newest sponsor, GFL. That's Green for Life. If you're looking for that dumpster or that roll-off or that piece of equipment that's going to get that debris away from your job site, or just keep things handy around and clean around that big business that you have, GFL wants to be your partner. They want to service you, and they want to take care of you. Locations in Knoxville and Morristown, and you can call them today at 865-475-7777, 865-475-7777. Dean Kings joins me today to tell us about a special offer for Rick's House listeners. Dean.
Yeah, Rick, if they mention that they've heard about us on your show or any kind of thing affiliated with your show, we're going to waive our delivery fee for any roll-off box.
And how much is that?
That's a $75 savings.
$75 savings right off the bat. So if you're looking for that dumpster or that open-top roll-off, GFL is the company that's got them for you. They want to take care of you, they want to service you, and they do a great job for us. GFL, call them today, 865-475-7777, and mention that you heard them on Rick's House. Hey y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690. Saturday morning to you. How's your mama and them? Glad to have you back on the program this morning. Thanks for joining us. It's brisk. 8:36 Eastern Time, 7:36. Well, is that right? Is it 8:36 Central Time? 7:36 Central Time. 8:36 Eastern Time. 6:36 Mountain Time. And 5:36 Pacific Time, depending on where you listen to us at. So, but we like our time slot, and it seems to work out good for everybody. So we appreciate you joining us with that. We're happy to be here, and thank you so much for being part of what we do. Now, this is something that we saw, and I just happened to see this today. This is a wine bottle opener. I'm sure many of y'all know about this and have experienced said things for a bottle of the vino. And I saw a neat thing about this on the book face, as I call it. And it is, when you've got those anchors, those plastic anchors that are in the wall that you put in there in a hollow wall, and you want to pull them out. Now, not the kind that screw in like this, but the kind that you push in. And if you try to drive that with a hammer, let me tell you something. You don't do that, because how many times have you took that hollow anchor? Hold on, if I'd have thought about it, I'd have had one in my hand right here. But if you take that hollow anchor, and I should have rethought that before I did it, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you anyway. So when you take that hollow anchor and you make a hole and you try to drive it in there and it bends all around, don't do that. Take and put a screw in it about halfway, and then you can tap the screw, and that will hold the hollow anchor together. You got to have a little pre-drilled hole, a little smaller than the hole itself, so that it'll grab. Then you can back your screw out and put it all the way in there or whatever. But once that's in there and that anchor goes in and it spreads open like that, then it's a problem to get out. So all you have to do is line up your cork removing tool for a bottle of wine into the hollow anchor like that, and then just take the two tabs and it'll pull that right out. So, wine bottle cork remover to remove drywall plastic anchors. Great little hack right there that we picked up off of the interweb, as a friend of mine used to say on the program. So, we've covered a lot so far this morning. Brian, you're welcome to call, or anybody's welcome to call, 423-717-0157. Let's try that again. 423-717-0157. That's how you reach us on the program. And we've got that set up for live calls. Should work fine. And then, like I said, brand new system here, adding Spotify and some other things. So we're excited about that. So we're at YouTube, we're at Facebook and a couple places, adding Spotify this coming week. We should be able to get it done. We've already got the account, so I don't know what the process is on that. And then in addition, Evan hopefully will join us next week, and he'll be in here. Not only will you be able to see him, but you'll be able to talk to him, even though we'll be in two different places. And I just think that's so cool, because I can pull people from different parts of the world who sponsor us, who have companies not just in Knoxville, but in all places across the country, and we can talk about that, and that makes me happy, so that we can give you those people. And not only so many times in radio, as we've been doing this since, this is our 26th year this year, you don't get to see them. Some of them you probably don't want to see, like me, but many of us have a face for radio, but many of us don't. So anyway, all that little joking being said, but you'll be able to see him as we bring him on, whether it's Dean from GFL or Evan from Perma-Chink, or maybe Joe from Old City Kitchens or Knoxville Salvage. What a great job they do for us. Brother Harold over there does a phenomenal job, and we're just so tickled to have the sponsors that have stuck with us throughout that period of time. And while I'm thinking about it, I missed one of those commercials. So let's just go ahead and play that right now, because we don't ever want to miss our friends at Knox Rail Salvage. Hang on, youngins.
Hey y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. And let me tell you about my friends at Knox Rail Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxRailSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Located in the heart of East Tennessee, where they do full service plumbing and repairs, all clear plumbing. Wheeler and Daniel, they know how to get the things right in your house. From a broken water pipe to an emergency repair to a water line installed, or maybe something that you never thought a plumber could do. Who do you call? You call All Clear Plumbing. Talk to Wills, All Clear Plumbing, your choice for plumbing. 865-443-7752.
3, 4.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen. Join me every Saturday morning from 7:30 to 9:30 where you're here at Rick's House, where you'll learn about great companies like Knox Rail Salvage, Top Septic Service, and All Clear Plumbing. We'll answer your questions, we'll give you home improvement advice, and talk about your RV and your travel trailer. That's Rick's House. Saturday mornings, 7:30 to 9:30. We hope to see you there.
Hey y'all, this is Kix Brooks, and you are listening to Rick's House. Everything you need to know about home improvement. And here comes Rick.
Oh, well, it's Rick's House. If you got a question, he'll help you figure it out. 'Cause it's Rick's House.
What happened? Let's try that again. One more time.
You couldn't cook an egg on the concrete. Walking around on
the city streets, they go. Whew. Let the big dog eat. Let the big dog eat. Hoo-yah! Call the doctor, call the nurse. I don't know what it is, but I know it sure hurts. Call the ambulance, call the cop. Call the number of the man of God. Let the big dog eat. Let the big dog eat. Let him eat now. Oh, well, it's Rick's house. If you got a question, he'll help you figure it out. 'Cause it's Rick's house.
Oh, good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back. Thanks, Carol. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. Each song's a little bit different, and thank you for that. And also, Melissa, good morning. Good to see you this morning, and glad you're in there with us this morning. Thanks for being a part of what we do as we are trying out some new stuff, and I like it. So, sorry I went a little crazy on the music there just a little bit. But we've been talking all about the weather this morning, and I don't know where you are in this part of the world. If you're in Knoxville, or if you're outside of that, if you're in Texas, out in Lacey, Washington, wherever you may be, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to let us know what's going on with you guys and listen to what we're doing. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We are adding some things that we're excited about, and coming up next week, some additional things. Hopefully we will have Evan with us from Perma-Chink, and like I said, we'd already made the show, but he had to make sure they have horses, and Evan has a degree in ag, and he knows his business when it comes to farming and agriculture, and his wife does horses and all that kind of stuff. So he said, man, there just ain't no way. He said, I've just got this weather's killed me. I just got too much to do. So that's the reason. The other thing I'm working on is adding another camera, because I want you guys to be able to see outside. Now, you would just now be able to start as we go into close to the top of the hour. You would just now be able to see what I see outside, because it's just, the sun's just now beginning to come up. We are in the high desert in West Texas, and it is cold. It is a winter storm in effect. Over the next couple of days, we're going to be cold like y'all too. So that's going to be part of it. So I appreciate that. And like I said, if you hear something, nothing in East Tennessee yet, Melissa says. I was watching Mike Witcher, and I like to watch him because he's pretty good. And are they saying that y'all going to get? I mean, first I heard that y'all was going to get it. Then I heard y'all wasn't going to get it. Then I heard that you was going to get it. And then this is kind of like we are down here. We just don't, like I said, we're in the high desert, so we don't get much rain and wind and all that kind of stuff. That's the glory of a cough button. Thank y'all. Apologize for that. Allergies are going crazy. And that's one of the things about being on the road and traveling. When we go from one place to the next, every time we move somewhere, we have to readjust to the allergies in that part of the world. And of course, we take all the stuff we can take for that. But, hey, at least we get to wake up. If we don't like the weather somewhere, we move. If you get a neighbor you don't like, you move. It's pretty easy when you're when your house is on wheels. Ice storm warning, Melissa says, back home in East Tennessee. And we are under a winter storm warning here as well. Let's see what it says, which is kind of unusual for us. Winter storm warning is in effect. 26 degrees right now in West Texas. I think y'all are probably colder than that. And do we have the faucets dripping? Yes, we do. Actually, the plumbers say that when you get down like that, you really need to run a small stream about the size of a pencil lead to keep it from doing that. Now, we went to a new type of hose, electric water hose, for our this past year. Actually, since we come to Texas, we went to a new one. And the one I had before was a Camco, and it was really heavy and bulky, and it does a great job, and it's highly thought of in terms of how it does, and it performs great, but it is so difficult when you're moving. It's just heavy, and it's hard to roll up, and it's hard to deal with. So we tried, and we went to the hose that they have now, which is like a standard garden hose, but then it just has the strip built into it, and it's very pliable and flexible, and it weighs probably a fifth of what the other hose does, and it's working beautifully. Knock on wood, it's working absolutely fantastic. You check my volume on there. I was over modulating. Just the music was a little bit tough. Okay, so there again, thank you, Miss Carol. We appreciate that as well. So anything that we can do. The other thing that we haven't went to yet, but we're going to go to, and I've noticed a lot of people when they're traveling, they've went to this, and I'm sitting here right now looking at fifth wheels, and we had a bus come in yesterday, a school bus that's painted baby blue, and it's called the Road Boat, which I thought was a really neat name, and we need to look those up, and if they're still here today, I'd start to say we'd go out and meet them, but nah. If it's 18, Ricky ain't going nowhere except in his chair. Do what? Yeah, it was a big old bus, and had solar power. Now Brian had asked me about solar power a little bit earlier in the program, and I just hadn't got to it yet. I'm learning about solar power, and solar power has interested me. And I went away from it in the beginning for a couple of reasons. One, it was back in the day when we first got started doing our thing, it was very expensive. I mean, really expensive. And it has come down in expense. The other thing is I don't know anything about it. So I have been working on, whenever you can, I've been working on learning about it. And one of the folks that we watch, and if you don't watch him, man, and you're thinking about this lifestyle, besides listening to your favorite home improvement radio host and then me, you should be watching Bob Wells on Cheap RV Living. He is the granddaddy, the head man, the big kahuna, the honcho. He is kind of the creator of all this. He lost a child too. Didn't know that. He lost a child as well. And for many of y'all know, we lost two of our children, which is one of those things that nobody should have to do, but you do what you can, and it's funny. A lot of people, it's not funny. I don't mean it. I didn't mean it to sound like that. It's not funny, but it is something that there are more people in this world that have dealt with and deal with than you know and you realize. And so our heart always goes out to those folks because we know how they feel. And it's something that never leaves you. It's just part of the deal. And for those of you all who face this battle every day, it don't go away. It's always there, and it's just part of the deal. So that being said, we'll move on. But Bob Wells, Cheap RV Living is phenomenal. One of the things that we are considering is as we travel, right now we're in a park, and for us, it's an ideal park because it has everything that we like. There's about 100, is it 100, Amy, or 120? 100. I think it's 100. I think they got 100 spaces in here. About 50 of those are permanent residents. And what I mean by that are people who live the RV lifestyle, who are either here for winter, snowbirds, or live here because they're working, or they're retired like we are. And, when you look at the cost of living, people say, well, gosh, Rick, how do you do that? Well, you look at the cost of it. And, honestly, just being truthful, where else can you live where you have paved streets, garbage service, internet, cable television, fantastic swimming pool that you don't have to take care of? And if you've had a swimming pool and you've took care of it, you know exactly what I'm talking about because it's a job. Fantastic swimming pool, community center, mail service. They have Bible study once a week. Right now it's on Tuesday nights. And then, but once a month they have the propane here. It's about 100 feet from, or about 100 yards from where I'm at, where we are in this park right now. And they get our mail, they get our packages. Yesterday, I needed a jump with something bigger than what I had to jump my truck off. I called, and they sent one of the guys up from the office, and we had a good visit while we were doing that. And we're about a total of 6 miles from anything that we want. Oh, plus your water and your sewer, and it works out to about $14 a day. So $425 a month for all that. That's why we love this lifestyle. Plus, we're with similar people who think similarly like we do. Most of the folks in here are close to our age, or some of them are older. Kids are dispersed all over the place. Grandkids are dispersed all over the place. But what I was driving to with that was, I've got to change my seating arrangement here. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. The little short legs needed to be adjusted. But anyway, one of the things that we're thinking about, and this is where we come back into solar power. I think solar power is good, especially in an RV situation. And we actually do have a solar panel on our top of our travel trailer. That's a small one. It's a 50-watt panel, and it keeps our batteries maintained. So in the event that power goes off, our 12-volt stuff runs. So we have lights. We're not stumbling around in the dark with a flashlight. The fans will run, and that kind of thing. Our refrigerator runs on 120 volt, and it also runs, it doesn't run on propane, but it also runs, which I'm glad, but it also runs on 12 volt power. So we have the ability to not lose, when we're traveling down the road, it's running off our batteries, which are plugged into our truck. And while our truck is running, it's recharging those batteries, but it's also being charged by the solar panel up on top. So our batteries maintain a charge all the time. So if we need to stop to do something, go in the trailer, use the restroom, or we just need to go in and get something out, or we need to, run the slides out or whatever, we don't necessarily have to crank the generators up. Now, most of the time we do, because if we're going to cook something to eat for lunch, we're going to whip in a Walmart or a truck stop or a rest area. Rest areas are great for, that, but you can't stay overnight. I don't think there's any left in the states where they'll let you stay overnight. They'll run you off. So thank goodness for that cough button. I apologize. Allergies are going through the roof. But what I will say is, there's a place in Arizona called Quartzsite, Arizona, and that's where they have the RTR. And if you go to Cheap RV Living, you'll see the RTR. Now the RTR is the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and Bob Wells started this. Now Quartzsite has long-term visiting land, so they've got Bureau of Land Management land. They also have state parks, and they have long-term parks. So you can go to a long-term park and you can stay 7 months for about $200. Y'all see Boho in the background. He's on the back table. But so for a couple $100, you can stay there and boondock. They have water up front, so you have to get your water, take it back to your rig. They have a dump station, so you have to use a honey wagon, which if you use a macerator pump, that's really easy to do. And you just hook it to your vehicle and roll it down there and dump it in the dump station. And then they have vault toilets. But for us, we're not doing that. But the people who do that and live that lifestyle use solar power. I would like to add more solar power, but what Amy and I have been looking into is, obviously when we're in this location where we're exploring this part of the world, we are not going to move this big, huge travel trailer every time we want to go an hour away. So we utilize her car. And I'm in the process, and this is something that y'all will see of planning. I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to add a topper to my truck, and that will allow us to utilize the truck if we want to go and run up to the lake for an overnight or for a weekend or that kind of thing, and leave our home base where it's at. And when we do that, obviously we'll take a generator with us, but it would be nice to have power when we use the car. Bob talks all about Blue Eddy and Jackery, and there's several others that are solar generators. When they first came out, they were so expensive, and they just didn't last long, and they were just really, really expensive. So I didn't consider it. I just said, we can't afford that. They were $1,800, $2,000, and they just didn't power hardly anything. Now you can buy a power station, that you can use for a weekend, and then turn around and if you're going to camp in a car or camp in the back of a pickup, and you're stealth camping and you don't want to run a generator, you can power everything and it stays inside with you because it has no fumes or nothing like that. And you can charge it during the day while you're driving around to the next spot, or you can charge it off your solar. You can do a lot of different things with it, and it'll run lights and stuff like that, and even small appliances, 12-volt appliances. So that's something we're probably going to add just for a convenient thing. A huge thing that a lot of people do that where we are in what we're in right now is what they call day camping, where they just go for the day. We hadn't really, we go for trips during the day, and we try a new restaurant, or, we go out to see something, or, I can't hike because of my mobility issues, but Amy can. So we'll go somewhere where there's something for me to do, like fish, or, work on whatever I'm working on for the day. But in an environment where we're just out with nature and seeing, the desert gets in your blood. East Tennessee always be home to us, but as we've aged, this type of living has become the type of living that we really enjoy. It's conducive for my health, unless it's like it is right now, and basically miserable outside. But it's also we're finding ways to make even that experience more comfortable, if that makes sense. That way, we're able to go and do and not have to move, because it's expensive to move this trailer. So when we move it, we're going somewhere to be there for a little while, but we're going to get in the middle of that area so we can explore all around it, if that makes any kind of sense. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but let's try this. I don't have the second camera hooked up, but I'm just going to spin this around and see if y'all can see outside. That light may be in the way. I don't know. There we go. So you can kind of get a feel for the park and what's around us and what we see. You see some big rigs out there and that kind of thing. I don't know if you were able to see that or not. Let me know in the comments if you could. But I'm adding an additional camera. That's my goal. I'm going to try that today. So I can split the screen and y'all can see two things. Hey, Cammie, good morning. How you and Tim this morning? Good to see from y'all. Cammie and Tim Mix, folks we met in Oregon, who have become dear friends, and we always enjoy seeing you guys and hearing about what's going on with them. Good morning. Glad to see y'all. And matter of fact, you can see it. Okay, Brian? Good. Okay. So I want an additional camera so you guys can see that and I can split the screen. The other thing will be is when our guests come on, like when Evan comes on next week or the week after, and then Dean from GFL, Evan from Perma-Chink, we'll be able to split the screen so we can have an outside view. You can see me. You can see on the inside where you're looking in our travel trailer right now. There's our television, and then you can see what's behind me, which is a storage. Now, that was a couch, and we took that out, and then we found friends of ours had a dresser they wanted to get rid of that of. It was a Boy Hill dresser. And they said, if you'll just come get it, we'll take it. So we took it, and Amy put contact paper in it, and it stores a lot of our kitchen utensils, stuff that doesn't fit anywhere else. So that's what we utilize that space for. Across from that is where my office is and where my studio is, and you can see that. And then I don't know if you guys can see this, but let's try that just for the heck of it, because we'll see what's going on. There we go. So you can see we have two recliners. Hers is on the left, mine's on the right. And then you can see that area to the left was where our kitchen dinette was. And we took that out, and that's where our washer and dryer are, along with our air fryer. And we run a separate line for that, so it has its own separate circuit, so it's safe. And then into the kitchen, behind my recliner, you can see the kitchen there. So you kind of see what our setup is. Oh, and I started off telling you about this, and then I forgot about it. So I woke up this morning, and everybody asked me, well, how do you use your propane heat? And we don't use our propane heat. I've got to have it checked, and I'm just not comfortable with it, without it being checked, because of going down the road and it bouncing and moving and doing all that. Good night. Excellent, Cammie. I'm glad y'all are doing wonderful. Fantastic. I know you've been riding those motorcycles. I always enjoy seeing that on Facebook. And by the way, we're in West Texas. If you don't know, we're still a pretty good ways from Oregon, but we are in West Texas. Matter of fact, I was talking with one of the guys yesterday, Bill, who helped me jump my truck off, and he's from Corvallis. That's where I think that's where Oregon State is, if I'm not mistaken. But he's from that part of Oregon. But anyway, so I get up this morning, and we have run separate circuits. I call my buddy Don Ogle at Ace Electric Company in Knoxville, he's forgotten more about electricity than I'll ever know. And I told him, I said, look, I need to run infrared heat in my trailer. Because the infrared heat warms everything around you. And so that's the kind of heat we like to run. Well, your infrared fireplace, is designed to run 750 or 1350. It doesn't run 1500 watts like most heaters do. And I don't care if a heater's small, it can still run 1500 watts. You know, the electrical system, we've talked about this a lot, in your RV is not designed, it's not designed to run anything except what you got running. And if you add to that portable heaters can be very dangerous. You say, Rick, well, why are you running them? Well, the reason I'm running them is because I've run separate circuits that when I get to the campground, I'm going to make sure of a couple of things. One is that not every campground has a 50, a 30, and a 20 amp circuit. Well, I'm going to make sure that I get to one that has a 50, a 30, and a 20 amp circuit. So I take the 50, that gives me a 30 and a 20. I split it with a surge protector, always using surge protectors outside, not these kind of strips inside that we use. I'm talking about outside for the power, so that I know the voltage coming from the box is safe. I know if I'm feeding it safe. Then I have a line that I can take loose. That's an exterior cord that is designed to be an exterior cord to run something large. And so if it says you can run it on 12, I'm going to use a 10 gauge cord. So I'm always going to go bigger. And that's on a separate circuit. So the only thing running on that is the dryer, if we're doing our 110 dryer and it runs by itself, or a heater. If we're running the heater, it runs by itself. Or if we're running the air fryer, it runs by itself. And so that way we're not overpowering anything in the RV, and the RV's doing its thing. So we use the infrared fireplace, and then we have two separate circuits for additional things. Whether it's washer, dryer, comp dryer, really, it'll run the washer by itself, so we don't have to worry about that. But I apologize. My allergies are wearing me out this morning. So we've got that going on. And so that helps. But so we keep a little additional fireplace that's infrared that we run on 750 watts. And so I thought, well, it's a little cool in here this morning, which our RV is. And I don't know if you could notice this, and I'll turn and show it to you in a minute. The switches went bad. So that heat's not working. So the project for today will be to take that heater apart and see if I can replace that switch with a new switch, because it's not working. It's not clicking. It won't click on. It's broken. You say, well, Rick, what caused that? Just use. It's probably 5 years old. And so it's just use. Now, one of the other things that we did, and I don't know if y'all can see this. Let me turn right here. Okay. I'm going to get off me just a second. This is the side window to the RV. This is what they call a blackout curtain. You can see the inside of it's black, and you can see Amy's cut it and hemmed it. But this is a blackout curtain. Behind this blackout curtain, if y'all can see, is a shade that if you cock it like that, it's translucent, so you can see out. If you pull it down like this, it blocks it as well. And if you open it up, then you could see outside if the window wasn't fogged up. So we have our blinds pulled all the way down. And then on top of that, we have this blackout curtain, which is not only does it black out the light, but it also serves as a heat. It holds the heat in and keeps the sun out. Makes a huge difference. If you look at the curtains behind me, you can't see because we don't have them open right now. And when Amy comes back in here, I'll see if she can't open them up for me, or when we go to timeout here in a minute, I'll open them up. But just by the addition of that, it has changed how well the inside comfort of our travel trailer is. I guarantee you, by adding the blackout curtains, and then we have styrofoam that's cut to fit in our windows if it gets really, really cold, and then the shade, and then the blackout curtain itself. And what that does is it has increased the comfortability, the comfort factor. That's the comfortability. I don't know if that's a word. The comfort factor. Amy, will you open these windows, the shades behind me, the blackout curtains, please? Yeah, and the shades back there so they can see outside. But it has So there she's opening you see how they slide. So she's opening the blackout curtain. So those are out of the way. Now you see our shades down, and it's in the mode where it's closing everything down. Boho didn't like that, and that's our new little kitten. And there you can see outside and see our neighbors behind us. And when it's not cloudy, you'd be able to see the mountains. So there's the two neighbors behind us. The guy right behind us just moved in, and he evidently works nights because he's never here. And then there's another park model behind that, and they come about once a month to visit from another part of the state. And then behind that's a horse farm, and then the mountains, the Davis Mountains. So, by doing that one little thing, it's really made a huge difference in the inside comfort of our travel trailer, which transfers to dollars. These curtains, there's Boho. Y'all see him walking across the back of the table, or the dresser. He thinks he's the boss anyway. That was our Christmas gift, was little Boho. He's a rescue. But he's fitting right in with the rest of the family except his sister. Gypsy Jane does not like him at all. She didn't authorize the bringing in of another animal into her home, which she did not like. So all those things put together transfers to dollars. You say, well, how much are the blackout curtains? They're like $14 for a set of two. And Amy uses the Eclipse brand, which also has an insulation factor to it. And it also has, for me, one of the benefits that we didn't realize until we got them and looked on the package. It also really reduces noise for the outside when I'm working, doing the show in the morning, but it also keeps my neighbors from going, hey, shut up over there. We don't want to hear that music this morning. Or my big, loud, booming voice. So there again, just something else that we do that we found along the way that helps us to maintain the comfort in our home. And that's something that we've really been enjoying. We got to take one more time out to hear from some of those folks that bring you the program. When we come back, we will share with you a few more tips and things like that. And then I hope the announcement thing worked good. That was new for me this week. Sending that out. Again, we're adding some more platforms next week. Oh my goodness. And finally, for those of you just joining us, I had forgotten that. Thank you, Mom. I had forgotten. I got a new recipe by accident. And we're going to share that. You can't miss this. Don't go. Listen, you can't miss this. And if you're in your late 50s like we are, you're going to get a kick out of this one. Amy said, are you going to tell that? I said, I got to tell it because it's probably happened to somebody else. And if she hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known it. So go nowhere. This is worth the entire show today to hear what I'm getting ready to tell y'all. I promise you, it's worth the time to hang on for a little bit. Hang on with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Perma-Chink Systems, protecting wood for a long, long time. Not only protecting it, but beautifying it, helping it when it's decayed, working with log home people, and also working with homeowners. They have a store on Prosser Road in Knoxville at 1605 Prosser Road. It's 800-548-3554, or a store in Sevierville, 1357 Dolly Parton Parkway, 865-774-3307. 865-774-3307. Let me tell you what you're going to learn when you get there. Things I didn't know about. How about the Woodsman line of smooth log caulk? The other day I was looking for something that matched wood trim. I only had two choices. Not with Perma-Chink: pine, honey, tan, cedar tone, brown, and gray. E-wood, epoxy wood putty that really works. Putty that will harden and become just like the wood itself, maybe even better. If you're missing sections of your windowsills or frames or furniture or any wood structure, this is the product for you. But maybe it's something smaller. How about epoxy wood paste? Contact PCS today. Call Perma-Chink Systems today. Toll free 800-548-3554 or at the Sevierville store, 865-774-3307, and find out how to make wood better. Hey y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you about our newest sponsor, GFL. That's Green for Life. If you're looking for that dumpster or that roll-off or that piece of equipment that's going to get that debris away from your job site, or just keep things handy around and clean around that big business that you have, GFL wants to be your partner. They want to service you, and they want to take care of you. Locations in Knoxville and Morristown, and you can call them today at 865-475-7777, 865-475-7777. Dean Kings joins me today to tell us about a special offer for Rick's House listeners. Dean.
Yeah, Rick, if they mentioned that they've heard about us on your show or any kind of thing affiliated with your show, we're going to waive our delivery fee for any roll-off box.
And how much is that?
That's a $75 savings.
$75 savings right off the bat. So if you're looking for that dumpster or that open-top roll-off, GFL is the company that's got them for you. They want to take care of you, they want to service you, and they do a great job for us. GFL, call them today, 865-475-7777, and mention that you heard them on Rick's House.
Hey y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Hey y'all, this is Rick Allen. Let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Don't let do it yourself become do it to yourself. This is Rick's House, the home improvement show.
y'all. Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. My goodness, I don't know where the time goes, but it's been flying. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, I promised you, and thanks to my bride, she brought it back to my attention that I had not finished up with the story that I told you I was going to tell you about this morning. And so for those of y'all in your late 50s, I hope you get a kick out of this one. So one of the things that happens since I've had weight loss surgery is my stomach, when you first get surgery, it holds about 6 ounces. And then as the swelling goes down, it'll hold about 8 ounces. And Dr. Ortiz, that did my surgery in Mexico, he's board certified in the States too, and practices in San Diego, California, and as well as in Mexico. He's the chief of bariatric in Mexico. But anyway, he's something else. And when he did my surgery, he did it with a robotic arm. And so we've had just great success out of that. And I had the gastric sleeve, and so he cuts your stomach to the size of a banana, and then he wraps it in titanium mesh. And so I'll never be able to stretch my stomach. It eliminates that. So my family back home that's had the surgery, some of those have stretched theirs back out, and then they have to go back in for a revision and all that stuff. Well, I won't ever have to have that problem because there's no way for me to stretch it. So what happens is I can pretty much eat what I want to, but within reason. But I only eat little bits of it at a time. So we're in the land of Tex-Mex and really good, real, true Mexican cuisine and just all kind barbecue and all kinds of stuff. Now, Amy and I have, because of her diet with her celiac disease and having to be on a whole food diet and stuff, we eat pretty healthy. I still eat some bad things, like when I go into the supermarket here, our local store, which is awesome. They have homemade, everyday fresh. They make flour tortillas, homemade. Golly dogs, man. When a country boy will pass up a biscuit and gravy for some huevos rancheros with a tortilla, that ought to tell you something about how good it is. Good. So that being said, so in the evenings, I eat a little bit at a time. So I get hungry about every 2 hours. And I get hungry at night because I'm a nighttime person. I'm up doing my thing, and staying up at night and all that kind of stuff. So I get hungry. Well, Amy's not a nighttime person, although she's a little bit more of a nighttime person since she's gotten older. But I've got on a nacho kick. And that's what happens with you. I get to craving stuff, like I eat Cheez-Its about once a year and they kill me. Absolutely kill me. My body says no to Cheez-Its, but I love them. And I don't know why I go back for the glutton of the punishment every time, but I do. About once a year, I got to have me some Cheez-Its, and then I eat too many, and then there you go. And for those of you who've had weight loss surgery, you know what that does to you. It's not pretty. But anyway, so I've been on a nacho kick. So I like the thin chips because I don't like the huge corn flavor. So I like the Tostito thin ones, or like the Cantina style that are real, real thin. And Mama don't like those. She likes scoops because she likes all the corn flavor. So what I do is I'll take me a paper plate, and I'll put the nacho chips on there. I'll take a couple paper plates. We use a lot of paper because it's just easier. So I'll put my chips on there, and then I use cheese because I eat real cheese. Now, she's dairy free. She can't eat cheese because she's allergic to it. She's, what do you call that? Lactose intolerant. Something to that. It's not intolerant. It goes with celiac disease. She can't eat it. She can't digest dairy products anymore. So that being said, but I can, and I like cheese. And so I'll cover them with cheese. And then in Texas, they believe that chili. What's that noise? Oh, that's okay. It's fine. They believe that chili does not have beans in it. If you've watched The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon, he's from Texas, and he'll say, that's not chili. It has beans in it. It's not chili. And that's they say chili con carne here, and it's meat and sauce and, that kind of thing. So Amy said, I'm going to try the chili con carne. She said, I'm going to make it without the beans. I'm like, okay. So we did, and it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's meant to be on a hot dog, but if you're from East Tennessee, I don't know where the beans in my chili. I need them beans. But anyway, so she made some of that, and I knew we had some left over. So the reason I do that, I put the chips down first, and then I put the cheese on top of them. Then I put whatever wet stuff I'm gonna put on top of it, like chili or salsa or whatever, and then I put more cheese on top of that, and then I put it in the microwave and nuke it for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then amazingly the chips stay crispy, but they don't get soggy that way. So I'm going through there, and she'd fallen asleep in here with me in the living room, and she was in a recliner, so I'm trying to be quiet and everything. So I'm up there, and I'm opening the refrigerator door, which is kind of like a bull in a china shop. I'm not real quiet. I try to be, but my cane going down the hall, thump, 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 trying to get to the bathroom for the 47th time for the evening. But anyway, those of y'all that been together 40 years like we have, you understand. So I'm in there, and I get my plate out, and I get my chips on there just right, and then I get I hit some Monterey Jack and some cheddar cheese on there. Man, that's delicious. And then I looked in there, and I go, oh, there's a blue bowl, and there's a paper plate on top of it, and I open it up and go, oh, that's chili. That's the chili con carne. It's dark. That's chili con carne. Looks like chili con carne to me. So I put that all over top of it. And then I go and I keep me some quesadilla cheese in there, because that melts real good and gets all good. And I put that all on top, lay it in there 4 minutes. I'm like, and I hit it with some hot sauce, Louisiana hot sauce. Yes, sir. And I come back in here and I let it cool till the cheese kind of hardens in it. And I go to eating it. And boy, I'm thinking, man, that is good. That is so good. That's exactly what I'm craving. Well, I always make more than I can eat, because that's just the way I'm built. Because my eyes still think I can eat more than I can eat. But when I get full, when you've had surgery, you just don't eat much. But then I wake up in 2 more hours and need to finish that off. So what did Ricky do? He ate as much as he wanted, and then he didn't eat no more, because there's 2 things that happen to you. Either your nose starts running, or if you eat one more bite too much, it's awful. So it makes you feel terrible, because there's no room. So anyway. So I'm back asleep. About 2.5, 3 hours later, I wake back up, and I thought, boy, the rest of them nachos would be good. So I finished it off. And then I went back to sleep. Then I got up and made coffee, and we were doing my thing. And she gets up, and she comes in the living room, and she said, have you fed the cats yet and the animals? And I said, no, I hadn't done that yet. She said, well, I'll do it. I'm like, okay. And so we take turns, feeding animals in the morning, because they think that, if anybody's up moving around, it's time to eat. Kind of like I used to be. So anyway, so she opens up the refrigerator and she goes, hey. I said, yeah. She said, did you see a blue bowl in here with a paper plate on top of it? And I said, yeah, that chili. She said, did you eat that? And I said, yeah, I put it on my nachos last night with the cheese and everything. She said, well, there's 2 blue bowls in here. And she said, with a paper plate on top of it. I said, well, okay. Oh.
That's how I differentiate.
Well, what she didn't tell me was.
Well, I thought I did.
Oh, she thought she did. Do you hear that? What she didn't tell me was the blue bowl with the paper plate was cat food. Friskies Seafood Medley Delight. And the blue bowl with the saran wrap on it was the chili. She said, well, just so you know, the chili's still in here. I said, don't tell me that. She said, well, here's the chili. So Ricky ate 2 helpings of Friskies Seafood Medley with Monterey Jack cheese and cheddar cheese on nachos for his snack 2 nights ago. Now I'm going to tell you, it was delicious. You put enough cheese and enough hot sauce on it. That's what Dane from JFL said. He said, we need to get you on that. I put that stuff on everything. I gagged just a little bit, but I thought, well, I done it. She said, well, if times get hard, we can live on 90 cents. I'm going to leave you with that one. Thank God we appreciate you. We know we won't go hungry. Be sure and see our sponsors, and make sure that you come back next Saturday morning, 7:30 to 9:30. Stay tuned for updates during the week. Grab them babies if they'll let you. Put your arms around somebody you love and tell them. Because, folks, you just don't never know. Thank a veteran for their service. God bless you. We'll see you next time. It's been Rick's House.